Even if you have no experience driving off-road, this is something I still think most Americans could get behind the wheel of and really enjoy.
This car is rock solid. You can slide it around, you can pretty much do whatever.
Welcome to Hagerty's Rated, the review show where we put a journalist and a race car driver into the same car to get their different points of view. At the end, we score the cars based on how they drive, how they feel, and how we think they'll age. Today, the Land Rover Defender gets rated. The new Defender, it is not like the old Defender whatsoever. I think Land Rover has done a fantastic job in embracing the nameplate of Defender and all the legacy, the heritage that brings to this modern day vehicle, but still keep some of that off-road heritage. This new Land Rover Defender, the P400, it's got that 3-liter inline 6, it's supercharged and turbocharged, 400 horsepower, right around the same number as far as torque. So the modern day SUV buyer has certain expectations. You think to some of the leaders like the X5, this is not that. You're gonna get in, it's gonna feel different, it's gonna feel more rugged, more tough, all the creature comforts you've come to expect. It's just gonna have a little bit more of that off-road and rugged feel to it. The new Defender is priced in a really good spot. So the base model right around $50K is the starting point. The specific model and vehicle that I'm in right now, with all the option it has, like the terrain select system, is at $72,000. It looks like it's ready to go off-road. It feels like it, although a lot more comfortable than the previous Defender. And while a lot of folks may not take it off-road, I'm gonna try it. Let's see how it does. Even if you have no experience driving off-road, this is something I still think most Americans could get behind the wheel of and really enjoy. So what's better about the old Defender compared to the new one? If you're out on the trail, you could probably fix something with a standard tiny toolbox. With this modern day Defender, I'm not quite sure that I'd be comfortable working on it if something did fail out there, but when it's working, this is the modern day SUV that you want to pick up, take the kids to school in, grab the groceries, and then still on the weekends, load up some bikes, put a trailer behind it and have some fun with. So I've had my time in the Defender. It's been a blast, both on-road and off-road, but now it's time for me to turn over the keys to my good buddy, Robb Holland, and let's see what he thinks of this new legendary Defender.
Dude, looking sharp.
I got her a little dusty, but I'm sure you'll get her even more dirty.
I'm gonna work on it. I'm a big fan of Land Rover Defenders. Their shape and style and utility, I think, is the basis for almost every modern SUV out there right now. That being said, it is a 70-year-old car. The car was first made in 1958. So the tech in that car, the body on frame, the live axle suspension, all of that stuff is dated technology, and Land Rover knew it. They said, okay, look, we've got to reinvent this car for more modern times. So they gave it a unibody construction and independent suspension, which I think is going to make the car a much better car for modern times. So the next thing I'm noticing about this is the power. The original Defender only had 200 horsepower. It had a boatload of torque, but only 200 horsepower. So anywhere around town, you were pretty much the slowest thing out there. The new Defender has got an inline 6 turbocharged engine with a 48 volt hybrid assist. It's got 400 horsepower and a boatload of torque from really low in the RPM range. This thing scoots, not just for an SUV, but it scoots for any car, period. All right, now I've been talking about how great this thing is on the track, but let's be honest, we're not gonna see this thing on track at all. Let's see what this is like in its native territory, off-road. All right, now the first thing off-road is that this thing is way stiffer than the original Defenders. Original Defenders were great at low speeds. They could pull stumps out of the ground or whatever, but as soon as you got them up at any speed whatsoever, they were just a wet noodle. They were a bit of a mess. Whereas here, this car is rock solid. You can slide it around, you can pretty much do whatever. And easy to place. I mean, once again, that's the big thing for me, is in terms of how I see a car, in terms of its handling and everything else, is if you can place it exactly where you want to go. That means that the suspension's working the way it should, it means the differential's working the way it should, and that you've got a solid body and a solid chassis. And that's what the new Defender is saying to me, is that Land Rover did a really good job in getting all of those pieces to work together. Let's bring the Defender back into Kevin and let's get this thing rated.
Hey, it's time for this Land Rover Defender to get rated. My scores are up here on the board. Handling and feel, 8. Approachability, 10. Sound, 7. Interior and tech, 8. Another 8 for the look back feature. And then timelessness, 6, for a grand total of 47.
I like the way you think, buddy. Here are my numbers.
Looking pretty similar. Always gotta one up me though, man.
All right, handling and feel. I gave it a 9, you gave it an 8. On track, it was great. It was really well planned. I was really surprised about how good it was. And then off-road, it was even better. I gave it a 9.
I'm with you. I think the only reason why I probably docked it was the brake feel. I don't know if you noticed that both on and off-road. It was very aggressive. You had to get used to it.
Approachability, we completely agree. I gave it a 10, you gave it a 10. It's got great power, it's got great handling, and it's just an easy car to drive.
Very approachable on-road or off-road.
Sound, you gave it a 7, I gave it a 6. It's not super exciting.
But my thought here is what the average person getting this vehicle is going to use it for, and they want it comfortable and quiet. You get in that interior, roll those windows up, plush.
Fair enough. Interior tech, we both agree. Interior is nice, but it's designed to be a utilitarian vehicle, and that's what it does. And it does it, I think, very, very well.
Yeah, I think overall it's a great interior as far as its ruggedness. It is pretty easy to get used to as well.
Okay, look back, we agree again. Honestly, it just has a presence that you just can't define in pictures.
And you really need to see this thing in person because it looks much better, bigger, and overall commanding in person.
Absolutely. Timelessness. I gave it an 8, you gave it a 6. I only gave it an 8 because it has to go up against its older brother, the original classic Defender. I don't know if in 70 years we'll be looking at this design in the same way, but I still like the way it looks, and I really do think it's going to age well.
This one, you can do a lot with it. It's a great car already, but in a couple years, I think they'll be able to improve some of the things that we mentioned even further now that it's back. And so that's why I don't think it's necessarily timeless.
Well, you and I are finally starting to see eye to eye. I'm glad you came around to my way of thinking.